Hello. Today we're going to be talking about what are we going to be talking about? About if you're afraid to make mistakes, if you often catch yourself in that sensation, and what to do so that you can break free from being afraid to make mistakes. So you may know that you're into that loop because you may catch yourself spending a lot of time on your lines when you have an audition or when you're acting, like being a lot focused on learning your lines, making sure you have them word to word, making sure that they're really deep in, because you're afraid that you'll forget a word, forget a line. You may catch yourself also really trying to figure out how to do the scene right, like stuck into like reading it over and over and trying to find the right way, or what is it that they want, or what am I supposed to do, how should I be doing this scene, or how can I be the character that's written, like that I really need to be the character, or I really need to respect the tone or find the rhythm. If you're finding that when you're working on material, you're having all of those thoughts, like making sure I get my lines right, making sure I get the tone right, the rhythm, the character, what is it that they want, trying to figure it out, is definitely a sign that your focus is on not making a mistake. And if you've experienced that, you are probably feeling some kind of pressure in your instrument. Like it's not fun. It's not fun to be doing art from a place of being afraid to make a mistake. It's not creative. It's actually defensive. So it feels a little bit like a test at school, if you remember when you had exams or tests, like, ooh, I have to. And then there's a little bit of tension and pressure where I have to do it for others. I have to learn the lines really well. If not, if I make a mistake, what will be the consequences? And of course, you're coming to this place because you want to book the job, and it's normal, you're an actor and you want to have work. But if you're coming from a place of not wanting to make a mistake, and you put all your energy and your preparation in making sure you won't make a mistake by learning all the lines, by trying to figure out what they want, what's the right way, what's the character, what's the tone, what's the rhythm, it's powerless for you. I want to say also it's creativeless. There's no room for you to show up. So it might feel tight, forced, like acting is not fun anymore. And so if you've caught yourself doing that, you might have tried to study harder, prepare longer, do a million takes before you're able to be like, okay, I've done it. Now I have to choose which of the million takes I'm going to send to casting. You may have, read all the books, or maybe you're catching yourself feeling like you always need to improve. You always need to go to another acting class, or to a scene study class, or to a better acting teacher, or this school that my friend told me about, that's going to work when I go there. So it's still like, if I do more, if I work harder, then I'll make less mistakes. And the question again is, where's art in there, right? So maybe I want to first say I understand your frustration, and I understand that it's a very uncomfortable place to be in. And I understand that it's coming from your heart, wanting to book, wanting to work because you're a passionate actor. And so I totally understand this frustration. What I want to talk about today is really the root of why you might be stuck in that spiral of showing up for the work from a place of just being afraid of making mistakes, and therefore not being in your power, not being in your creativity. So where I would like to take it is to start by making a distinction about the word mistake. And I would like to say that in art, whatever art it is, whatever artistic discipline, mistakes don't exist. So I'm going to say it again. In art, mistakes don't exist. So let me give you an example. If Picasso, I give this example a lot because it's so graphic. If Picasso was afraid to make a mistake, he wouldn't have painted women as cubes. In art, everything is possible when it comes from truth and freedom. So if you are fully expressing an impulse, a perspective, the life that's running through your veins in that moment, the word mistake doesn't even exist. It's not that you cannot make a mistake. It's that it's not even present. It's not even I made a mistake or I didn't make a mistake. It doesn't exist. If it's your creation, you can't be good or bad. It's just your truth, and it is. It just exists, and it's expressed, and it's there. So if you take a child who's playing with characters, they can't make a mistake. They're busy expressing what they have in their body, in their imagination, in their creativity, looking at their little characters, and it's just the moment, the truth, the life that's there in the moment for them that's being expressed. There are no mistakes. And art falls in that category. There are no mistakes. So yes, you can definitely say a word differently or forget a word, jump a word, and then you get to do something with that. Then you get to use that moment and create further with it. But if you're still thinking when you're auditioning or acting from a place of fearing mistakes, it means you're creating from a place of fear. So it means you're not creating. You're just being like this, trying to not do this, not do that in the future. So I'm just preparing to not fuck it up when I'm in the future. So you're not really present in the present moment because you're trying to control the moment of the future. Oh, something's happening. And when you'll be doing your scene in the future, you won't be present because you'll have planned from a place of fear how you're going to do or how you're not going to fuck up the scene in the future. So it's literally the perfect way to not feel fulfilled, to not be present when you're acting or taping, to not be there, to not be impulsive, to not be truthful, to not be free. And therefore, if you're disconnected from everything that's free and alive with you, no one can connect with you. If I'm making a tape and I'm not here, but I'm feeling or thinking or looping about everything I shouldn't do, or making sure that I do the thing I planned so I don't make the mistakes that I'm afraid of, well, basically I'm not here. I'm not present here right now, really truthfully here. If I'm planning and strategizing, I'm not here. Really talking, really being my character, really wanting something as my character. If I'm planning and being afraid of making mistakes and controlling myself and my instrument so I don't make mistakes, I'm in my ego. And my ego has no business being there when I'm being the character, defending the character in their life circumstances. So there's no art possible when you're thinking and planning and preparing from a place of fear. Now, the reason why you may be preparing from a place of fear, not you may, but the reason why is because you've been conditioned to function that way. At school, in our educational system around the world, unless rare exceptions, it's all about you sitting down, being quiet, behaving like you're told, feeling what you're told, thinking what you're told, learning what you're told. you're basically being controlled at school to function the way you're told to be and not the way you want to be. And so because you've been conditioned to function that way, well, when you were little, you were always afraid of making a mistake because that you'd be told, don't think that way, you have to think this way, don't feel that emotion, don't be scared, don't be angry, don't be sad. You've been told that your impulses were a mistake all the time since you were told how to behave, what to learn, when to sit down, when to go eat, when to pee, when to go to the blackboard, what to learn, what to be interested in. So your capacity to just be you and free and present and alive has been robbed by this educational system. You've been trained to listen to an authority, and you've been trained to believe that the authority knows better and that they get to say when you made a mistake doing your tests or at school, and there's consequences to that mistake. And it's scary when you're a little person to feel that. And therefore, until you undo that conditioning, you're still going to function from a place of fear. And when you're functioning from a place of fear, there's no creativity. There's only survival of your ego. Therefore, there's no room whatsoever for the character, for their circumstances, for their need. You're not there defending the character, defending what they want. You're busy surviving with your ego because you're so afraid of the consequences of a mistake. But again, in art, there are no mistakes. So, in order for you to be able to not work, prepare, and bring your energy from a place of fear, but from a place of truth, from a place of you, of your authenticity, from a place of you being here, present, alive, truthful, right now. In order for you to be able to work from that, you have to undo. You don't have to learn anything new. You don't have to go to an acting class. You don't need to read more about acting. You don't need an acting school. You don't need a scene study class. None of that. You actually need to, the opposite, to undo, melt, deprogram, dewire everything in your system that has made you believe since you were little and since you went to school that there is a right way to do things, and therefore there's a wrong way, and the wrong is the mistake, and it has consequences of exclusion, of shame, of humiliation, of isolation at school, and punishment. So the only way for you to not prepare, act, audition from a place of fear is for you to undo that conditioning, because it's not who you are. The conditioning is just pressed on you, sprayed on you, forced upon you like a straightening jacket, like a rope that ties you up. It's pushed, it's forced on you. School is forced on children because there's punishment and consequences. And again, kids do not choose to sit down for a whole day and learn. That's not what kids want to do. So everything that was impulsive to you, that was bypassed to make you conform to a system. And you were forced to do that because there was scary consequences. So for you to be able to not function that way, because you've had decades of training functioning that way, sitting down, shutting up, being afraid, accepting, respecting, and making sure that they know and you don't, and you're going to respect everything and not make a mistake. If not, you're going to get in trouble. In order to undo that, you don't need to learn more. You need to undo, break free from that rope, from that cage, from that straightening jacket. You need to undo it. Take it off. Deprogram it from your system. And that's the work we do in the reset journey. We don't teach you anything. I'm not a teacher. I don't even coach. If I coach, it's to make sure that you're not acting. I'm a non-acting coach. So as a coach, I just help you so that you can undo. You do the work. I don't do the work. I can't spoon feed it to you. I can't give you your freedom back. It's about you undoing that rope that's tying you up, that straightening jacket, that cage, that jail. that's keeping you locked in fear, trying to satisfy, trying to be liked, trying to be loved, trying to be safe. If they like me, then I'll be fine. If I book, then I'll be fine. None of that works. None of that is fulfilling, not to you, not to the audience, not to the character, not to no one. So it's really about, that's why we call it the reset journey from resistance to freedom. It's about undoing. When you undo that conditioning, that programming that's not yours, then you, as an artist, can show up. Then you're here. You're present. Not the masks, not the coping mechanisms, not the conditioning, the programming, the wiring. You. The essence of you. The pure juice of you. The DNA that only you are. When that shows up, that's when you start booking. Not when you're not trying to make mistakes. That's why we have so many people who report that they're now so free after doing their reset that they audition for a job, they get another one. Because if they don't correspond, casting wants to work with you. Casting wants to work with you when you're present, really tasteable, free, alive. Like they can actually feel you, experience you, because you're really there. If you're just a collection of learned behaviors and coping mechanisms and trying to do it good and trying to be safe and trying to do it right, they can't taste you. You're just being a little robotic. You're just masks and layers of conditioning behaving well. But that's not a human, and your job as an actor is to remind everyone what it's like to have a true human experience, a real deep, juicy human experience. And for that, you need to reset your instrument to what it was born to be. You don't need more conditioning. You don't need more classes. The classes are the problem in the first place. You need to undo all of that so that we can go back to you, who you were born to be, who you can show up as. And then you're creating. All you're doing is creating. Then there's creativity. Not from a place of fear, from a place of truth. This is who I am. This is what's in my heart, and therefore that's what I choose. Not because you're going to like it, or you're going to dislike it, or because I want you to love me, or because I want to book, or because it's going to make me feel good about myself. No, just because I want to, because this is who I am. And it's a very different perspective. It's you actually giving your ego up for your character, and therefore all your energy is there defending your character's needs. And it's not your energy as they're busy struggling with your ego's needs. Very different. It's actually the opposite. So, if this makes sense. If you're catching yourself in that energy of actually working from a place of not wanting to make a mistake, of trying to be perfect, trying to be good, trying to be liked, let us know. We can help. If you're ready to reset, let us know. If you want some free links and some information, we have some free trainings for you. You can type free 100 in the comments, and then we'll send you some info and some free trainings. All right. I hope this was helpful. Have a beautiful day. Bye.